OMG, y'all. What's up, lady? What you doing, Dr. Lene? You over there in the drawer right now? What's going on, y'all? What's up? She putting that good shea butter on today. I'm loving it. Yes. She ready to put that work in, boo. Let's go.
I thought I was going to be back before we went live.
Busted. That's my good girlfriend, y'all. What's up, everybody? This is Fly Nubian Money podcast, where we help you to master your mindset and maximize your what? Yeah, we saw your lips, but we didn't hear your voice. It's all good. This is everybody participation today. Listen, today
you're on mute. You got quiet.
My bad. Okay, my bad. I'm sorry. So today, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be talking about something every young professional needs to hear, y'all. And I got 4 of them ninjas at home. Why? Why, y'all? Why is Gen Z getting fired at an alarming rate? And what are they doing? What can they do to fix this? According to Fortune magazine, companies are really struggling with new hires, fresh out of college, citing issues like, no kidding, laziness, unprofessionalism, lack of initiative. Yeah. In fact, 1 of 6 bosses say they're hesitant to hire recent grads again, and some are even considering avoiding them altogether, which is good for us older people, right? Because now you don't have the whole ageist thing, right? Because they want to hire somebody who's reliable, who's not lazy, who's very professional. But is this really a Gen Z thing? Is this really a Gen Z problem? Or is this a generational clash between maybe old school and work ethics and new age expectations? Are companies failing to train young employees, or is Gen Z just not meeting the mark? Well, guess what? We're going to break it all the way down to the very last compound today with the most beautifulest, most amazingest, most wonderfulest queens on the mother effing planet, y'all. First up, listen, you see that? You see how I knew how to do that? I got my girl, my homie, and she's a doctor, Dr. Alicia. She is a therapist. She is a coach, and she's all the things therapizing. And this is what she's going to do. She's going to bring the therapy today, and let's wrap our heads around what the hell going on with these Gen Zers. And then we have the brilliance coach, the monetize your brilliance coach, Dr. Lene, and she's a doctor, y'all. She ain't no honorary doctor. She actually went to school and she did the things to become a doctor, not like me, who has a PhD, a public high school diploma. She has actually a real doctorate. And we're going to talk about how we can, I think she's going to come from the perspective of how we can just kind of help shape these Gen Zers and how to help them monetize their brilliance. Okay. And then we have over here the tax professional, Miss Moya. Now, Moya also, she's not only a tax professional, but she helps these young people get scholarships. So I can't wait to hear your perspective on that. And I need to actually talk to you. I just talk about it on my podcast about the need for these scholarships for my Gen Zers. And then we have Miss Lala. She is an international real estate agent. She's going to show you how to build generational wealth. She and hopefully, I know your mission is to help all the generations build their generational wealth, right? It's a whole thing. It's all about legacy creation. And it's me, your girl, Constance Carr. I am your wealth activist. I'm also crippled. So I almost sliced my 2 fingers off this weekend. Yeah, it was really, really bad. Really, really bad. Like really, really bad. I got a bunch of stitches. In any case, I'm going to tell y'all, one of these ninjas brought me some flowers and I was throwing the flowers away and the vase fell and I almost cut my fingers off. Anyway, but that's beside the point. We're going to actually talk about the Gen Zers. And I just really, before we start this video, you guys, I want to know, because I know, 3 of us have Gen Zers. And I know, Lala, is your son a millennial or is he a Gen Zer?
He's not a Gen Zer. He was born in 87. So
he's a millennial.
Yep.
Okay. What's your experience in working with just Gen Zers? Because we're talking about Gen Zers here.
Well, a lot of the times I've actually tried to hire quite a few myself to kind of get them into the business and also kind of use their tech savvy, but I have not had any luck with them. They do not want to work. They want to play on the phone all day long. And this is just my experience because I have met a couple that were hardworking, but most of them see that they want to believe that there's this influencer money and not everybody can do it. And so they're trying to get into that. They do not want to sit down and pay attention. They don't want to listen to what you're asking from, and they don't take instructions very well. After five of them, I was like, that's all right. Lala know how to do this herself. That's all right. So I can't do it. I can't do it with them. Their attention span, what they expect, their lackadaisicalness with me trying to work with them, I haven't had a good experience.
So okay, is that where you are in Portugal, or is that in the United States? In these United States?
In the United States. In the United States. My California business.
Okay, got it. Are you finding the same thing, Moya? What's your experience?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Oh, okay, stay right there. Is it because of where we are in society? Because when she talks about the lack of, attention span, is it because, of social media? Do you think because everything with social media is so quick? Like, what's causing this?
I believe social media adds to it in the sense of how they receive information. So, I feel like it happens with every generation. Like us growing up, we thought we knew it all. And I think they really think they know it all because in TikTok, this is what they've heard. This is what they learned in less than a minute. So what they learned must be right. And what I've been doing that's worked for all these years is outdated. So they have their own view.
And the fact that they call us old is just crazy. Like, Mom, you're ancient. Like, what are you talking about? It's like, yeah, it's crazy. So do you think, Dr. Lene, that it's a social media thing? Like they have the attention span of a gnat because everything is, a reel, the time of a reel. And so they're getting their information like super quick, like Moya said.
I think it's a combination of things. I think it's a combination of just where they are in life. If you think about who you were and how you operated in your 20s, you thought you knew it all. So even before social media, when we were in our 20s, we thought we knew it all. I think it's exacerbated because of social media. So they're already in that phase of they smell themselves and they think they know better than you, right? My son calls me, you're so traditional. Traditional? I'm like, I'm a little old school, but traditional. I was like, you're getting it mixed up. It's not traditional to be on time for work, to do things a certain kind of way. That's not traditional. That's being an adult, not traditional.
Right.
Or he'll say, that's how they did it in your generation. We don't do that today.
Back in your day.
Back in your day. Yeah. And I'm like, certain things are just the same. Like what you're dealing with and what you're going through in your 20s, that's not a generational thing. That's everybody goes through that. Everybody thinks they know better than their parents. Everybody don't want to listen because we do it differently. And then when you get older, you'll realize that, dang, I should have listened. But that's just everybody. Like, but is it exasperated due to social media? I think it's exasperated. I think it's worse because they have the phones, they're looking down, they're not paying attention, they're not connecting. So it's worse, but it's also, we all went through it, just not like they going through it.
Yeah. And it's also displayed on social media, right? So, their lives are on social media. And imagine if, I think you said it one time, Dr. Lene, you said, I'm glad social media wasn't around when I was doing my thing because
God. Thank God social media wasn't around because I would like to believe that I would have handled myself, correctly, but I know me and I knew who I was back then and I wouldn't have, I'd have been a plum fool. I sure would. I know I would have because when you're young, you think it doesn't apply to you. You think it's going to happen to somebody else, but not you. You think you're quicker, smoother, faster, and it's not going to be you. And then it be you. So
it be you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, Dr. Alicia, let me ask you this, because, I see and I know you have girls and I know you have, but you said the antithesis kind of what everybody said. You were like, oh, they're beautiful. They're amazing. What? Okay. I'm so glad that you have an opinion. I'd love to hear.
Well, no, I just want to say everything everybody else has said is 100% accurate. Okay. I just want to say that, but I want to add a little more color to it because I teach at a university and I used to teach undergraduate students. Back 15 years ago when I first started 20 years ago when I first started teaching, we had millennials. And we were saying the same thing about millennials when millennials were starting. So there is a lack of mentorship that I feel like needs to happen, but I'll get into that a little later. I'm at the point now where I will not teach undergraduate students.
Really?
I am the most senior person in my university, in my department. And so when an undergraduate course becomes available, I am buttoning it up. I am taking first pick of the master students. So the master students are the best type of students to teach, because undergraduate students right now look different than how it looked when we were in undergraduate programs. They require a lot of attention. They require a lot of mentorship. Those soft skills they do not have. Our business school and some other departments at my university are now offering a 1-credit course called How to Learn Soft Skills to Get a Job. We're trying to have an extra course just on how to have small talk. What are good boundaries? What are not good boundaries in terms of your social media? Now, as a university professor with my graduate students, one thing I'm doing is I know that they're on social media. So I'm incorporating that into my coursework. So I'm adjusting. So that's just to give you a little preview about my suggestions in terms of the answer. As a faculty member, I'm adjusting to the students that come in, and I'm saying, let's take on social media, because in my field, it's a value-based profession, social work. I'm like, let's put our information out there and not have it so sterile. So I'm trying to create some excitement and fun in some of my courses by blending social media in with teaching concepts.
That's interesting. You know, me having 4, like I said, I have 4 Gen Zers. And one of the things that I think is really interesting about how the way they operate is because they know everything, just like you said, Dr. Lene, they know everything, but then they have TikTok to back it up. They've gotten all their information in a 1 to 3 minute reel from TikTok, and they know way more than you. And I can say, I mean, there's a lot of really good information out there, and there's a lot of really bad information out there. So they're talking about things and issues and all these things based upon this 3-minute reel that they've seen. And so, you have that, right? And then you have the fact that they do have the attention span of a goldfish. Really, I mean, we know that. And that's the reason why they're making reels shorter and shorter and shorter. That's the reason why we're making content really short form, is because the attention span, nobody's sitting down and looking at anything over 3 minutes.
And do you think that the attention span is getting shorter and shorter because of the reels? So are we literally training our children to have 100%. Short attention spans by being online, or vice versa?
I think it's because of the reels. I think that's sort of how we're training them to think. Like everything is quick. And anything, if you have anything that's over that 3 minutes, they're not looking at it. They're swiping, right? They want to get their information really, really fast. And so then they're not putting a whole lot of time into whatever it is that they're supposed to be doing, i.e. not showing up for work, i.e. being late, i.e. all of the other things that these Gen Zers end up doing. And it seems like to be a common thread. This is not isolated. It's across the board. But we're going to talk more about it when we get back. And then there's a video that I want to show, that I want to run, just to kind of really get your ideas. And then for you guys watching, this is a dialogue and not a monologue, right? So what is your opinion? First of all, do you guys have any Gen Zers in your family? And what are your thoughts? Are they operating a little bit differently than the millennials and then the Gen X's? Because we're all Gen X's. No. I think you're a millennial on here, Moya. Are you a millennial? Yeah, millennial.
I think I made the cusp, like technically, just made the cusp.
She's still wet behind the ears. Okay, so do you think they're a little bit different than all the rest of us? What are your thoughts about the Gen Zers? Do they work a little bit differently? We'll talk about it after the break.
Woo! It's a good show right here. But I'm biased. If you are just tuning in, you are watching Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. My name is Tiara Williams. I'm also known as Miss Black Hollywood, and I'm the proud producer of this show because it is lit. If you want to receive notifications for when we go live Monday through Friday, 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All you have to do is text the word Queens to 87948. That's Queens to 87948. That's QUEENS to 87948. Also, if you want to grow your money and not blow your money, all you have to do is go to flynubianmoney.com. There's all kinds of resources, there's courses, there's free giveaways. There's just no reason to be broke in 2025. All you have to do is go to flynubianmoney.com. Obviously, you don't want to be entertained here. You want to know enough to grow. Wait, I need to put that on a shirt. You got to know to grow. Got to know to grow. So know and grow with flynubianmoney.com.
Girl, I actually have a shirt. It's called Grow Your Money and Don't Blow Your Money. Yeah. Anyway, let's go ahead and let's roll the video, because I do want to have a discussion around it. And audience, Everybody in the chat, we want to know what you think too. All right, so yeah, let's go.
According to recent studies, 1 in 7 hiring managers will not be hiring Gen Z candidates. Apparently, they've been firing Gen Z recent graduates. They've been firing them at an all-time high rate, citing these issues: lack of initiative, unprofessional behavior, frequent lateness, disorganization, poor communication, and they're struggling to manage their workload properly.
Okay, so let me ask you guys this. And for y'all in the audience, does that mean cool, more jobs for us? Or is this a problem? Is this a real problem? Dr. Lene, what do you think about them being fired at an all-time rate? 1 in 7, 1 in 6? What's that? What do you think?
I think it's crazy. I think it's real though. Like I have my son is 24 and I watched this dude get up just barely enough time to get himself together and get to work. And I just be like, dude, you need to get up. You need to go to work. And he's like, and he makes it, but he don't make it like up, refreshed with a cup of coffee, take a shower, have a time to have some breakfast and chill out for a second and walk to the car and get in. And it's okay if you miss a light. He don't make it like that. He make it like, I gotta go. In the car, eating and brushing the teeth at the same time, and get there like 10:30, pulling in at 10:30. Supposed to be there at 10:30. I'd be like, that's not how you're supposed to work. So I see it firsthand. And I know I can operate that way. And if I was an employer, I wouldn't want my employees to operate that way either.
Yeah.
I think the expectations of what these Gen Zers expect around work is still very academic and schoolish, where you get a lot of second chances and you can do it late and it's okay. They think work operates that way and it doesn't.
Yeah, I agree. I did a video last year, a few months back, about the same thing. My son was going to an interview. The cool thing is, what I learned when I was taking him is like, boy got a cold mouthpiece, which is good because I was interviewing him and I was like, okay, you said okay. However, one of the things that I was telling him, because he was getting there on time or maybe 2 minutes early, and I said, son, on time is late, early is on time, right? When I was 18, I had an interview at HP. This is how we built different. I had an interview on HP. I always make sure I get to anywhere I need to go at least 30 minutes early because of that. There might be that light or whatever, right? So I'm driving down 280 in San Jose and my tire blows out. I'm on 280. I got a pinstripe skirt suit on, and my daddy taught me how to change a tire. And I got out there on that freeway on Highway 280 and I changed that tire. Now, when I was done changing that tire, I was musty as shit. My stockings got a little hole in them. I had grease on my hands, but I still made it to that interview on time, right? And I was musty when I went up in there, but I let them see my hands. And and I ended up getting a job. But what I'm saying is, you got to make provisions in case anything happens, and that's what they don't do. Just like you said, they're like thinking, oh, this is like school. They'll give me a second chance, or they're not. Another thing is they're not dressing up. How many times have my kids said, "Mom, you make me dress up for these job interviews, and I go and I'm the only one dressed up." They come out to the interviews ready to roll, like they just rolled out of bed. Like, what are we teaching? And obviously it's the parents that are teaching them. So it's just, it's different. I can see why, they're getting fired at an alarming rate. But for you, Moya,
that make the kids not listen to you more. When I make my son be dressed like this, do like this, he'd be like, nobody else was dressed. Nobody else had this on. You made me go in there. I look crazy.
That's what they say. I look crazy. Everybody else is looking.
But that's the thing. That's the thing. They don't understand that makes you stand out. Why would you want to stand and look like everybody else, slouching and looking at their phones and and I'm like, what?
Right.
But they don't want to stand out. They don't understand why that is important. It drives me mad. I call it zombie land. Because it really feels that way. No one is looking up and talking. No one is smiling anymore. There's this whole lack. The fact that Dr. Alicia says her college has to teach a class on how to be social. We have lost really critical skills that need to be brought back. Period. I mean, in our schools, they're not teaching home economics. They're not teaching anything to help them with life skills. They're not teaching nothing. So they get out here with these others that they want to look like. I don't want to look silly. Peer pressure. This has to stop. They're not going to get anywhere. And we are seeing that result of all these little zombies walking around.
Right. What do you see the same thing, Moya?
Yeah, for sure. We had this. So I was interviewing and I came across this and I thought he was perfect. He just had graduated from UC Berkeley. He's Asian. And I'm like, he's going to be great. There's nothing that's going to be wrong with this guy. All he has to do is film and edit our content. He's filming. He lasted probably 2 days. He was like, I'm dying. I'm not able to do this. And I'm like, all you're doing is filming. Like, this is nothing strenuous. And so I went home and I told my kids the exact same thing he said, because I want them to know, like, you guys got to be way tougher than this. Because I'm thinking in order for him to get through UC Berkeley, he would have had to study. He would have had to pull all-nighters. Like, he's used to working hard, but no, he wasn't.
So even the Asians that are supposed to be like the big studiers, they doing the same thing too? Is that what's going on?
And I want to highlight one other thing that Lala mentioned is now that we have to teach soft skills, that's one of the things that's always set us apart being from the US or American, is that we are very social and our academics has been lacking for a while. So now when we talk about being competitive, China, not only do they have academics, is that now we're at the same level in terms of our social engagement and interactions. We're at an extreme disadvantage.
Do you think that, Dr. Alicia, are we at an extreme disadvantage?
I think it's a signal that some things just need to change. I think it's a signal that, because it's a signal that employers need to approach new hires in a different way. It's also a signal that young people just need mentorship. I do not enjoy calling an entire generation of people lazy, because that is ageism. Ageism goes the other way too. So, no one is going to pay highly skilled individuals because they cost too much. So they figure, let's just get younger people in because we don't have to pay them that much. So I think that it is a signal, and that things need to change. Employers need to understand who they're hiring, and understand too that a lot of young people who are in these jobs are criticizing work culture in a way where it's really legitimate. Some of the things that they say about work culture, they're actually spot on. So maybe it's a signal that the culture of work in this strenuousness that for an unnecessary reason, maybe some of those things need to change. So I think they need to come to the center a little bit and start mentoring people. And by the way, the high schools that my children go to, they teach them shop. They teach them cooking. They have to take a class on finance. It's required to graduate.
Wow.
So they have, like, my daughter took a class on baking, so a lot of these things are coming back into the high school, and they're teaching vocational schools. A lot of people are graduating with plumbing and all of those things. So it's not necessarily gearing everybody toward college. A lot of community schools, because ours is a community high school, their senior year, they're not even in the building. Their senior year in high school, they're out learning jobs and learning how to do hands-on stuff like plumbing and carpentry and things like that. And you could graduate with a cosmetology license and all of that. So things are changing and adjusting, but I don't think it's wise to demonize work setting. I don't think it's wise to demonize an entire group of young people who want to do work that feels good to them. Work that they feel like is fosters, like, seriously, if you start talking about values, what they value, they do very well in social.
I'm gonna tell you what they value, Dr. Alicia. They value the soft life, is what these lazy ninjas value. That's what they value. They
But if
want
you
the
approach
soft
them
life.
in a way where it's a moral purpose, you can inspire them to want to work. So if you can say, look, this is a greater good. What you're doing here is so important. Your job and the things that you're doing is so important that there's like a moral purpose. We can inspire a lot of young people to get into my profession of social work, to give back. Like, they see what's going on, the inequities, the social justice issues. We can galvanize them to get involved in making a real change for the world. And I think that can kind of spark them a little bit to want to grit things out and to work long days, because they can see the connection between what they're doing and the fact that it's really making an impact.
Now, I can definitely agree with you on that. I think with social media, with all the negative things that come with social media, I think it can galvanize this generation to make real change. But we'll talk more about that when we get back from the break.
I know you're busy, you got things to do, and you can't take us on the go with you every single day. Good news for you. We are now on Spotify. So if you can't watch us, now you can listen to us on Spotify. Search Fly Nubian Money and all the episodes shall appear. All you have to do is like, subscribe, leave a 5-star rating, leave some comments, tell people how you love us, so that when other people come along and are looking for a great show to watch, they can find Fly Nubian Money too. One last thing, and just in case you've been sitting under a rock, Fly Nubian Money now has an investment club. We are the Fly Nubian Money Club. It's easy. All you have to do is go to flynubianmoneyclub.com, and I am committed to bringing in top experts from all industries to help you level up. They're teaching us the skills that we need to compete in this market. We often say that nobody is coming to save us, not the government, but guess what? We're coming to save us. I'm coming to save you with the Fly Nubian Money Club. So listen, all you have to do again is go to flynubianmoneyclub.com. We have a 30-day free trial set up just for you, just for those people that are struggling. Even if you ain't struggling, you ain't got to struggle. I'm coming. Okay, let me stop playing. I'll see you soon.
Lord, she said y'all ain't got to struggle, baby. Okay, listen, we have another video I want to take a look at to just further this conversation about your raggedy ass kids. Let's roll this up.
This is for companies that post on LinkedIn. If you're not a company that posts on LinkedIn, keep scrolling. Entry level does not mean 3+ years experience. Remote does not mean you're in the office 4 days a week and at home for 1 day. Competitive salary does not mean $50,000. Good benefits does not mean 10 days of PTO a year. We're straying further and further. And they say, oh, Gen Z lies on their resumes. Gen Z doesn't want to work. Let's be so honest right now. That's not true. You could get by in like the 70s, 80s, 90s with a cherry and a nickel to your name. We need more than that. Sorry, Barbara, we need more stability than a cherry and a nickel. Oh, pro tip, don't go on Indeed. Don't go on ZipRecruiter. Don't go on any of those spam sites. I like LinkedIn. Is it the most truthful? No, but it's not really their fault. However, they could do a better job at regulating job listings.
Yo, the entitlement, yeah. Lala, the entitlement is really real. Like, these kids are just ghetto for no reason. What do you think about what this little youngster had to say?
I get you, Dr. Alicia. I understand we don't want to put labels on everybody, but let's just speak the plain truth. This is what the experience is. Yes, we say, when we say things, we don't mean everybody's included, but in general,
the majority of them motherfuckers. But go ahead.
I really don't get this. I can't understand this, because work ethic was put into me very early. Even before I was able to earn money, I was to volunteer in the summer for something that made a difference. I sang and worked at the nursing home in our neighborhoods. Just the entitlement that you are thinking that you're going to earn something. See, a lot of the kids that I tried to, and I keep saying kids because that's how they were, they just couldn't communicate. What they thought was, oh, everybody told me real estate. Look at all that big money you making. But then when they turn around and they see what all that went into that, the searching of your own clients, the on the road, the advertising, the teaching, the everything, they went, that don't sound appeasing. They want to get in and earn for doing nothing. And I have a problem with this. Even my son has a good work ethic. He's 38 years old, but he's been working since he was 14. So this is a new concept to me of them not wanting to work, that they want people to hand them this money for just being me. And I need mental days. I need 5 mental days. No. You can get through this. You don't have the life skills, but guess what, baby girl? Living in a household with other 20 renters and y'all all trying to get on TikTok doing your little dance and you're still not making it is not working for you. I have a problem with this. I have a serious problem with this. And I
Let me
don't
tell you something. Them mental days, yo,
Baby.
Lala.
Mental days.
My son said that last year. Mom, can I have a mental health day? What the? It's a mental health day, yo. What are you mental? If you don't get your ass to school day right now, and when you get home, you could relax day your ass to school. Moya,
No, we got an email from my children's high school, and they said every child has a 3-day mental health day, and it's excused absence, no questions asked. And then, but my daughter exercised it one day, and she's like, the social worker and the counselor was calling me up trying to book sessions with me. Yeah, so they actually have a 3-day mental health day for all of the high school students, at least. Yeah,
Moya.
I live in Illinois, so that just tells you we're a little progressive here. So
I love it. Not.
I mean, we would definitely love it to see it in Chicago. Chicago needs it. I think I'm with Lala 100% on this, just because it's really, really frustrating. I remember starting to work at 14, and because I didn't want to get sent home, I would just find something to do. I would wipe a table 5 times because I'm like, I want to work. I don't want you to send me home. So yeah, they're just very, very different. Their work ethic is very, very different. And I also give some of that to the fact that for us, we worked a lot. More parents are now working more. So therefore, we don't have the same amount of time that the generation before had to really mentor, as Dr. Leisha is saying. So they're just, in some ways, just coming up with these things. They don't have anybody saying, okay, this is what needs to be done. And so, yeah, it's just very, I do not like hiring them at all. At all. I'd rather hire someone from the Philippines.
Moya, you might have wiped that table down 5 times. Okay, I bet you it was gleaming and shining, and you could see it from the moon. You ask these children nowadays to wipe that table down, you have to go back in there and say, "Did you wipe the table? Because or did you bother even sweep up the floor?" This is a problem.
It's a problem. These lazy bastards. You know, when you talk about the mental health days, though, it's crazy because, like, okay, you got you mentally you can't cope, then you mentally can't play the game, then you mentally can't be on this goddamn phone on TikTok, then you mentally can't watch TV. Okay, so since you need a mental health day, then you need to mentally sit up in this room and watch these walls and think about why you need a mental health day. But y'all want to play the game? What, girl? Dr. Lene, what do you think about what she said? This chick wanted. She's like, listen, corporate America's ghetto, and your little pennies and the spam page called LinkedIn and $50,000. Like, what?
It's a catch-22. It's a catch-22. I'm not saying that she is wrong or right, but I am saying $50,000 is not a lot of money. It isn't. And entry level, it's not 3 years. That's not wrong. She's not lying. Is the demeanor and the gall and the audacity with which that's what it is. The Gen Zers, the entitlement, because in our generation, we didn't think it was right either. We just showed up and took it. They pushed up against the machine. They like, we ain't doing it. Our parents came in here and worked hard for nothing, cherries and nickels. We ain't doing it. We don't want that life. So that's the crazy part. What they're saying isn't wrong, but when it was our turn, when we went in there, we just put our head down and we took it. We just went to work, took the cherries and the nickels, took what we could get, worked extra hard, maybe worked 2 jobs. They like, we don't want to do that. I want to work 1 job. I want to make all my money from this job. I want all my vacation to come from this job. And I need my rest days and I want to sleep in. They've taken a different approach, good or bad, right or wrong. The things that we were just like, this is how it is. This is what corporate America is like. They're going to only pay you a little bit. They're going to expect a lot. And you just have to go and work. That's what we're going to do because we got to take care of our kids. They like, we ain't doing it.
And I think because there's, of course, the world is totally different than when we grew up, and there's so many more opportunities. Like these kids are, like you said, Kais and Nat, they're millionaires right now. They're going online. They're content creators, and they're making millions of dollars. But Kevin, he said, will it fix itself, Dr. Alicia? When they become the employer, will it fix itself? What's going to happen with these children who are complaining? How is this going to fix itself? Is it going to fix itself? Dr. Alicia?
I don't know. I think we need to start teaching young people we need to take responsibility for this issue. And we need to teach young people that life is going to give you challenges. And it's a test for you to resolve this, to overcome something difficult. But we need to respond to them with compassion and understanding, because that's always important. But we need to foster that, it is challenging, but this is how you grow. This is how you have resilience. Difficult situations call for grit and courage. And we need to cultivate fortitude in young people to help them uncover a deeper sense of meaning, even in adversity. We have to say life is always going to be some sort of test and challenge, but you have what it takes to overcome it. And I think that is how they have to grow. So I think struggling is something that we have taught a lot of young people they don't need to have. They don't need to do. You don't have to struggle or face something that's difficult or hard or something that, hurts your feelings. We have to teach people that, these things are going to happen, but you have what it takes to overcome it. You have the fortitude. Fortitude is what we need to start teaching and mentoring young people on how to do, because they're smart, they're creative. It's a beautiful thing, to have fresh minds look at things. One time, I'll share a story. I was driving downtown Chicago with my then 12-year-old daughter, who's 17 now. And I showed her this Miles Vanderohe building that I used to work in when I was a network analyst for Blue Cross Blue Shield Association. And I said, oh my God, Nicole, I used to work in this building right on Michigan Avenue. And where I grew up, I made it. I got me a corporate job on Michigan Avenue. I was a network analyst doing all these great things. She was unimpressed. She looked at that. She was like, oh my God, I would never work in that building. She was like, that building is depressing. I would never go into a place that looks like that. And I was floored by that. And I said, I used to take the number 3 bus down.
She was like,
Avenue.
Like this. She like this.
She was like, oh my God, no. She was like, never. No, I just can't.
I love it.
I couldn't believe it was coming out of her mouth. So these we have to adjust. We need to adjust and not point fingers that something is wrong with them. But she may be right. It was a depressing looking building. Miles Vanderohe, his buildings aren't very exciting. So she had a point.
Yeah. It's so funny because my daughter be like, Mom, we ain't got to struggle. We ain't on the struggle bus. We ain't got to live like you used to. We ain't got to do that. We ain't like, girl, listen. Anyway, there was a question on here is where the lost generation of compliant workers, millennials and Gen Xers are accustomed to our good living. They think they are supposed to be comfortable, which is, I think, what all of our kids are accustomed to. I want to talk about that when we come back from our last commercial.
Hey, it's Dr. Javette, brand your brilliance coach and monetization strategist. I am partnering with the Fly Nubian Money Club to help you turn your natural gifts into big business. I help my clients build 6 and 7 figure businesses by branding their brilliance. You know, that thing that comes easy to you, the thing that you can do with your eyes closed. That thing, that's your brilliance. And now it's your turn. Join me on February 22nd at 10 o'clock a.m. and I'll walk you through strategies that can change your life and business forever. Don't miss this opportunity to brand your brilliance. I'll see you in class.
Let me tell you something. Of all the commercials of advertising, the classes, this is the one right here. Let me tell you something. She looks so good and so crisp and everything. And she gonna teach you some things in her training. So make sure you all go to her training, because I already know I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be there in the back. I might be cleaning my house, but I'm gonna be listening. I'm gonna be getting all my nuggets. It's gonna be great. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. It's gonna be awesome. But there was a comment that said, we are the last generation of compliant workers. Millennials and Gen Zers are accustomed to our good living. Our kids over there talking about, mama, we ain't on the struggle bus. And they think they are supposed to be comfortable. We've made it really comfortable. And it goes back to that saying, Dr. Lene, hard times create strong men create good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. What do you think about that?
I think it's true. I think when we grew up struggling and we said we want to do something different for our kids, we don't want our kids to struggle. And so it's not that we did not struggle, it's that they didn't see it. Right. When we grew up, we saw our parents struggle. We felt the struggle, right? And when our children are growing up, we were struggling. They didn't know it. We were struggling. They didn't feel it. They still have Starbucks. The first time I went to Benihana's, my mom took me and my cousins. We were going to see a concert, The Boys, in Palm Springs.
Girl,
me and my son eat at Benihana's on a Tuesday because I don't feel like cooking. Right? Like you were like, hey, can you pick up some Benihana's on the way home? Yeah, hold on. Yeah, I'll stop by the can call it in. Like, it's a completely different life. It's not a special occasion. It's a Tuesday. I don't feel like cooking. Let's just roll to Benihana's real quick. Like, it's not a specialty thing anymore. So that's number one. We haven't shown our children the struggle. Number two, we didn't allow them to struggle. One of the things that me and my son fight about today, like he pushes up against me, is when he was about 14, 15-ish, he went to get a job. And I was like, why? Like, you don't need a job. Like, you're straight. Like, just focus on school. You're good. And then when he got about 17, 18, 19, I was like, you need to work. And he was like,
get your legs put up.
I was 14, 15, I was trying to get a job. You told me I need to have one. And now now you're making me work. Yes, because you got to take care of yourself. Like, you know what I'm saying? And he was like, and so there's that fight and that confusion of, you let me go too long being dependent, and now you're trying to make me be this kind of a way. Thank the Lord. I was just telling Tiara, he bought his first car this weekend. He got a 2025 K4. He bought it on his own, and then tried to show me out this morning on the way to the office because he's tried to tell me I make him late. So he left like 25 minutes before me this morning. Like, I told you I could be to work on time.
Okay. I love it.
It's day one. Let's see you on day 5.
Okay.
But it's us. It's us. We gave them comfortable living. I have a mentee who has her own business, and she's like, I want to be like you. I want to be like you. I don't want to be at the office all the time. I'm 11 years in. You can't do what I do 11 years in year 1. And a lot of times I think our children see us live the lives that we live, not knowing the struggle that we've gone to because we've covered them. And now they want what we have without having to do the same work and the same struggle and the same sacrifice. And that's where I think we've missed out on, is not letting them have those same opportunities to struggle, which is what makes us who we are today.
I want to say something to that, because you know what, that is, you hit it on the point. Like, when we were off from school, I mean, I was pretty much raised as an only child, even though I got a big family. When school was out, whatever holiday, my mother was still working. Okay. My mother cleaned people's houses. On the days that she was off, guess who went to go and clean houses with her? That was expected. So it wasn't lost on me how hard my mother worked. And it made me think a lot of the times before I asked for anything, because I knew how hard she was working. When she was scrubbing floors, so was I. And I think that a lot of the times we do not show our children that struggle. My son did see my struggle because we let him know, and we also showed him. And when he could help, he could help. But this generation has lost that. What we are partly responsible for that as well. But I do also think that technology has a huge part on how this world is seeing things. You see that, oh, do you see her shoes? Oh, I was okay with Kmart tennis shoes because I knew how hard it was for my mother to even be able to afford that.
Yeah. And you know what? You're right. Because we do make it easy for these raggedy ass kids. We do. I mean, look, I almost damn near severed my fingers off. Really. My fingers are damn near severed off, right? You saw that, Lala, right? And my son asked me if I was going to twist his little raggedy nappy ass hair. Like, they don't care. They don't care. My kitchen is a mess right now because I'm not cleaning it. They don't care. Anyway, do we, and it's my fault because I spoil them. But are we in that hard times create strong men create good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times? Is that where we are? I want to look at this other video and discuss this whole idea about how, we are, all the hard work that we do, because they don't see it. They don't see it. Are we creating weak men? And is this a cycle? Because I will tell you, like, every generation complains about the next generation. You guys do know that, right? I remember reading the slave narratives. Now, do you know this is back before our grandparents, and parents were saying, this generation, they lazy, everybody, it's a different version of the same thing, right? So, we're having the same conversations that our, parents and our grandparents and our ancestors had too. So I don't think nothing's new under the sun. It's just a different type of lazy. But let's take a look at this video.
If you're talking to a 20-year-old today, and the benefit of going through the grind and going through a Kmart job or a Walmart job and working minimum wage has made a lot of entrepreneurs who they are today.
100% agree. I said that to an audience. I set them up a little bit. I said, how many people are frustrated with the interesting level of work ethic for Gen Z? And they all go, oh, right here. Oh, they're late. They're this, they're that, and the thing. I said, next question, who raised them? And the same hands go up. And I go, now, how many of you had a hard upbringing? All the same hands go up. So then how many of you vowed to never let your children go through what you went through? They go, yes, that's it. And that's where we messed up. Bingo. We as parents had great intention of protecting our kids. It was well-intended, poor outcome. So with my kids, like probably about 10 years ago, I said, guys, I messed up. I protected you from things I should have let you go through. I said, so we have one of two choices. I said, we can wait for life to teach you the lessons that I should have, or we can start manufacturing some struggle for you.
So I ate syrup sandwiches. I had powdered milk. I had gum and cheese. Moya, is that what we do? We make our kids eat syrup sandwiches, powdered milk, and gum and cheese so that they can understand our struggle? Is that what we do?
I don't think that's the struggle that I'd like my kids to go through. But what I do is, like, I'll tell them, like, some things like I used to do. Like, my mom used to say, hey, go walk to the store and get whatever. And so I'll tell them, like, go walk to the grocery store and pick me up some coconut oil, right? Like, and so they'll go. And then I'll say, like, what happened? And they'll come back with all kinds of stories. And I'd be like, okay, so what did you do in that situation? What did you do there? And so I feel like it's helping build some character because, they have to interact with the world when it's just them.
I love that. Well, let me ask y'all this, because you guys are of a certain age. Anybody gets sent to the store with a note buying cigarettes? I did. I want a pack of Cool, Mild,
and beer. I was allowed to buy beer. My daughter
has permission. Y'all don't know about the struggle, but I had to go to the store with a note buying some cigarettes. Lala said she bought beer. I mean, it's a whole different generation now. But I love that, Moya. Let them go. Let them go to the stove. What do you think, Dr. Alicia? What do you think about the idea of us allowing them to struggle a little bit?
Yeah, they're not struggling like they should. Like I was part of the latchkey kid. I had a key around my neck, and I would come home. My mom taught it she actually taught at the school I went to, but I would just walk home by myself in elementary school alone. I was about a block and a half away from the school, but I had a key. I would let myself in. I would just be by myself in the house for a while. And I mean, I think that's really interesting. And now the idea of moving back home after college, it's almost like when in my generation, we were like, what happened? Something bad happened to you if you move back home. like, something really unexpected. And now it's just, everybody just moves back home. And that's a little unusual. And we're hearing a lot of employers actually complain about the fact that new hires are bringing their parents to the job interview and leaning on their parents. So I think we are
wait. Explain that. I don't understand. How are they bringing?
Their employers are complaining that when they interview Gen Zs, that they're bringing their parents with them to the job interview. And I'm wondering if maybe they're overcompensating, or we are overcompensating for the fact that, I know what it's like to be able to not have anybody home when I get home from
So
school.
like they're in the car, or they're going into the interview and they're saying, my mom is with me.
Yeah, like, their mom is with them, especially those Zoom calls. They'll have their parents with them, that Zoom job interview, they'll have their parents with them. And it's almost like you're overcompensating, because I know I do more for my children because my mom couldn't do as much for me as I felt like I would have wanted to. So I don't know. I'm wondering if I'm coddling them a little too much, because the stigma of graduating and then coming back home, it's gone. It's almost like, it's okay for them to come back home. And part of the issue too is that some of these employers just aren't paying people enough when they do get jobs for them to live on their own. So it's this struggle between what are people to do? How are these young people going to really launch and get into the position where it's do or die? Like, I don't have a home to go back to. I ain't going back home to for me, a motivating thing was I didn't want to go back to Gary, Indiana and live with my mama. I was not doing that. So I had to grit. I had to have strength. I had to overcome and persevere and stay at this job that I probably didn't like so much, because I didn't have nowhere to go. What was I going to do? I had bills to pay. I had things to do. I could definitely call on my parents to help me, but that wasn't the culture. It was almost like you have to really grind and sacrifice, and not just, you only live once,
I understand
like that. So, I mean, it's a generational thing. It's not necessarily, I'm not saying how things were in my time was definitely the best, but I know generation before us was like, I used to walk to school 10 miles to school. And back.
Our parents just did it in the snow, up the hill, all that. Yeah.
With no shoes, no backpack. I carried all my goods.
Right. It was cold. Manufacturing struggle is manufacturing struggle, but it's true, because you got to think about it, these jobs ain't really paying what the cost of living, and for my daughter to go out now, my daughter, I bought my daughter a property, and for her to go out and leave. Now I bought this house, 7,000 square feet. She has like 2,500 square feet downstairs in the basement. Like, why would she go and pay somebody where she has, this, and she ain't got to pay nothing? So it does make for a soft landing for our children. Like, how I fear how she's going to really go out in the real world, and she's going to have to make a whole hell of a lot of money. And also too, I was at a cookout, these really rich people, and I was just ear hustling on these gentlemen and talking, and they were talking to this guy. He was saying how he had this IT business out here in DMV. They got these $800 million government contracts, and he was like, you know what? These kids is lazy. He said, I got internships. I pay $50,000 for summer work in IT. I got all these jobs. I've hired all these people, and these kids won't show up for work. I'm like, what? He's like, a summer job paying $50,000, and these kids won't show up for work. And I was like,
$50,000 just for the summer?
Just for the summer. $50,000 internships, and these kids will not show up for work. This is what he said.
How old you got to be?
Right. You're right. Y'all still taking internships. and I said, Lord, please. And they're all Black people. Please don't say my babies is. And he was like, and he was like, they ours. And he's basically saying our kids don't want to work. That was the conversation. He was basically saying Black kids don't want to work. I think it's across the board. But what do you think, Dr. Lene? Have you heard that, is it different? Do we have a different work ethic than, say, other ethnicities?
I wish I knew more white people to be able to answer that question. What I can tell you is that all the Black folks that I know who have kids around the same age, we're all having that same conversation. That's what I can tell you. But if I were to think about social media and or just the way that the world is set up right now, I think it's probably a lot of folks at that age. But I'm gonna be honest, like for real, how we rear our children and what we teach them and what we put in them to go after is different. We talk about this a lot of times when we're talking about relationship, right? Other communities raise their children to be married, to have family, but also to go to school. So they're instilling certain things in them at a young age. And I think we do it with our daughters. Like if you think about a lot of the stuff that's happening in social media, a lot of the young ladies are still going to school. They still see academics and college as a route out, where some of our younger men are looking at, rap or music or other ways of success, sports, things of that nature, instead of academic or working hard. I think we're in a day and age where entrepreneurship is starting to take center stage. But I don't think everybody understands the rigor and the hard work and the sacrifice and what you have to go without in order to do it. And so they'll struggle. So I think that we're seeing a lot more entrepreneurship and business in our community, but without that hard work, without that work ethic, without that ability to show up on time and communicate and those soft skills to be able to negotiate, they may still run into some of the same problems as just going and getting a regular corporate job.
Yeah, that makes sense. Moya, do you know white people? And do you know their situation is different? Unlike this one here.
Not in that context. But one thing I do want to touch upon that I don't think we have is even how we talk to our kids. Because the last show that Constance was on, something happened. And I just remember you saying something to Joe and he felt some type of way. But what I'm saying is, I feel like that hard love is really what we need and what we need to give our kids as well. And I think we're always so worried about, we don't want to have them have any trauma. We don't want to have them go through like even what words can do to you. But words also allow you to have a better understanding of how to process information and where you can place it within yourself. So therefore you can keep going when a struggle does happen. And so I think that those things are important too, just even how we speak to our kids that might sound tough, but it's needed instead of coddling their feelings.
Yeah. Call them raggedy and tell them that they lazy and that, that the stuff that I say to my kids, they know I'm playing. They don't take me serious. Lala, what about you? What do you think? Is this a cultural thing? Before we go to our final thoughts, do you think this is a cultural thing or is this like across the board?
No, I think it's across the board because all out of my experience, I said out of 5, they came from all across the board. They all had the same attitude. They all had the same thinking. I do not think that this is cultural. I think that this is just a generational thing that they accept and that they see the other people doing, and their time allotment, their brain span can truly only go the 3 minutes of TikTok or any of the reels. You can see them glass over after 3 minutes. It's like they just go into this zone, like zombie zone, like I said. But no, it's not cultural. This is definitely a generational thing.
Interesting. Well, you work with a multifaceted group of individuals, Dr. Alicia. What are you seeing?
Well, I work in a professional program. So you have to be licensed to call yourself a social worker. And we have internships that we have students do. It's required and mandatory for graduation. So these internships, we do a lot on our end to make sure that they're ready to go into the field because it's a professional program. So you can't call yourself a social worker unless you're licensed. And so with the title protection, we just feel like we're responsible for doing a lot of training, a lot of setting realistic expectations, which I think is it's not there. So universities, I feel like we have a responsibility to really make sure that our graduates are prepared to go directly into the workforce. So this is a wake-up call for us to respond to some of these things, to instill good work ethic And I think what's happening is that universities are becoming so consumer driven. Like students think that I paid tuition here, so you got to cater to me, you know? So we have to be like, hold on a second. Our job is to train you. So setting realistic expectations is something that we've been talking about as a department, making sure that students have demonstrated that they are prepared to go out into we monitor them very closely, what they're doing, their soft skills, all of these things, we monitor them. And so maybe other programs need to do that too. I think some of this lies on universities because we're betwixt and between, because it's competitive getting students. Like at the end of the day, we need butts and seats or our university doesn't thrive and survive. So we have to, push students, to go beyond their comfort zone. But then again, we do need to be compassionate with them and let them know you have got to work and grow and challenge them in a way where they just don't have a whole meltdown.
Yeah. I mean, that's true. So I'm gonna ask you this. For me, I learn a lot from my kids, honestly. And I think it's a good thing. I think we definitely have to steer and we have to mentor and we have to guide them in the right direction. We got to really be proactive with our children. And I can't say like my daughter's following in my footsteps. She's a real estate professional. And I'm just, she saw me. She looked at me. She looked at how hard I work. And I know because she has a job and she does real estate. And then she came home one day from work and was like, now I finally get it. Because I remember when she was in 7th grade, she did a whole little speech about my mom's always on her phone and, she's never, and so I'm on my phone all the time because I'm making deals and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. You just never know. I'm in the car and I'm always working. It's always. But now she's like, I finally get it. I finally see. And so, just me constantly mentoring. But I know she's also like, Mom, I just want the soft life. I just want to go travel and I want to, so we can learn a lot from them too, because they do look at life and I think they are enjoying life, right? The internet has opened up the world for them to see the world, and they're seeing people across the world doing some amazing things. And I think we should aspire to do that. So for your final thoughts, what can we learn from these Gen Zers? What can we learn and how can we, implement what they're doing in our lives, and then also make sure that they're on the right track so that our future generations aren't doomed, which I don't think they are. I think it's just it's a problem that, we have every generation. But what do you think, Dr. Alicia? Your final thoughts, and then where can they find you?
Yeah, final thoughts. Look, employers, you need to adjust. I think you need to take a look at your workplace culture and listen to before you let somebody go because they're not getting it right. I think there'll be a perfect opportunity to listen to young people. If you see a pattern in an entire generation of people who aren't quite making it, maybe it's a reflection of the workplace culture, and maybe it needs to become a little better. At the same time, perhaps we need to mentor young people to give them realistic expectations about struggle and how valuable it is for their personal development to struggle, so that you can instill in them and let them know and understand that challenges are opportunities for growth, and give them, they have everything that they can to overcome it. Yes, your behavior is lazy, but you're better than that. And it's giving them a mindset to thrive because the world is unpredictable. We don't know. If anything, now we've learned that the world is unpredictable. If you need help with this unpredictable world and your mental health, you can contact me at Coaching with Dr. Alicia.
Can't hear you.
But my teeth look pretty though, right? What can we learn? I try to do a pretty smile. What can we learn, Lala, from this generation? Like, they're not all bad, right? What can we learn?
No, they're not all bad. And actually we can give and take. It's a good balance. Listen, we laughed about the mental days, but to be honest, we all do need a little mental day every once in a while. Maybe not 5 in a 5-day work week, but every once in a while, maybe you do need to step back and take a breath. And another thing, we need to learn that their valuable skills on social media are just important in our world too. So we can give and take. We can teach them the parameters of what a good work person looks like, and also give them the hope of aspirations of their own businesses with what they know. And we also can take a little bit of how they can relax themselves every once in a while just to breathe, because the world is heavy. But one thing that we can do with our current children that are being born now out of this is stop complaining about these Gen Zs and teach them a little bit more work ethic than we have. Things go in cycles. They always go in cycles. Maybe your parents wanted you to learn piano and you hated it. Now all of a sudden you let your child learn on their own. It's a cycle, but make sure that you still show that they have value and worth in this world, because they do. And you can find me at www.laurakey.net. And I want to tell you something. When you do teach these children this, and I want you to get it through your head too, you don't have to stay stuck in any boxes. You are a world citizen. You are not just a citizen of whatever country that you are living in now. So if you're willing and wanting to explore what this big world has for you so you can breathe as well, then go to my website and download the quiz about moving abroad.
I love it. Listen, you don't got to just be a citizen where you are. You could be a world citizen. I love that. Okay. Moya, what can we learn?
Yes.
And I know you have a lesson. You always got a lesson. What can we learn from these Gen Zers?
I think the best thing is, if we're going to give them the space to truly discover themselves and see what works best for them, then that is something that we can learn as well. I know so many women, when they get in their 40s, they're thinking, okay, what do I do now? I just did what I was supposed to do. And now they have this level of freedom and they think, well, what are my passions? Who am I? What do I truly enjoy about myself? And I feel like when we learn that from our kids as they're discovering themselves, we can also take that time to discover what we truly like as well. I think it's also important in this stage, when we're allowing them to find themselves, is when they're going to college, when they're going to school, is that they don't pay for it. Like, they don't take on all this exuberant debt as they are searching for who they want to be in this world. And so if you really want to allow your child to live free, allow them to also live debt free, and taking out no student loans while they go to college. If you want assistance with that, please, you can always reach out to me on Instagram at moya.business. I would love to see how I can assist you with that.
Yay. Awesome. And then we're going to wrap it up with Dr. Lene. What can we learn from these motherfuckers? What can we learn?
I think what we can learn is that when your child does have something that they have an interest, or something that that they love, and in an area where they might not be lazy or driven, to fan it. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. When my son was younger, he used to come to me all the time and tell me that he wanted to be a photographer or a chef. And I was like, no, you're not going to be a photographer or chef, because they don't make enough money. You're going to be a doctor. You're going to go to Morehouse. You're going to be a doctor. And I pushed that on him, and I pushed that on him, and I pushed that on him. And here we are in the day of social media, and there are multiple six-figure chefs and multiple six-figure photographers who are living their dreams. What we can learn from Gen Zers is that you can brand your brilliance, literally. Like, this generation has said that there is something that they do good, there's something that they do well, or something that they know well, which is their brilliance. And they are creating businesses around it. They are branding it in corporations, which is why they're going in knowing their worth. And they're just doing things differently. Where we came from a space of, we're going to do what we're supposed to do, and we're going to do what has to be done. These Gen Zers, a lot of them don't have kids. They haven't had kids early. So they literally get to live a life of brilliance, where they can say the type of work that they want to have. They can become influencers. They can reinvent themselves as chefs or photographers and make a living. I forget, you've mentioned the young guy's name. I think it's like Kiat or something like that. This dude makes $4 million a year on Twitch. I can't even imagine that as a parent. So I think it's what we can learn from them is to really help them to brand their brilliance, or create a business, or find the right job, or find the right employer, or find the right path. Because when they do that, they will show up for themselves. They will operate with integrity. They will work hard, but they have to find the thing that makes them passionate. So I think as parents, we should do that for ourselves, but also help them to be able to put their passion into a direction. And so that's what I think. So I am Dr. Lene Javette. I am Dr. Lene Javette. And that's what I do. I help my clients to brand their brilliance, to create businesses, opportunities, programs, products around something that you're passionate about so that you can monetize it and make money. I'll see you guys on Saturday. For those of you guys that are going to be coming.
I cannot wait until Saturday.
Oh, look at the graphic. Okay, I see the graphic.
And you cute too. Oh, you cute too. I love that. So I'll say this. I absolutely love how free these Gen X's are. I love it. I love the freedom that they have. I love that the world is so much bigger than what we've known it to be in past generations. And I think what we could take from them is that that we only live once, not to take life so serious and try to live more free, and that we can do whatever we put our minds to. We can do absolutely anything. And I think the Gen Zers, they have it. It's us, the older ones who've told themselves lies, who've been told lies, who've believed the lies that they've been told about themselves, that are stuck in complacency, comfortability, being content. But it's those Gen Zers that are saying, I want to live life on my own terms. And they're doing it. And these jobs, the jobs are going to have to approach things, I think, a totally different way, because, they're just not going to take what they've taken, what we've taken, and what our parents have taken. They're doing things differently. And so the jobs are just, these companies are just going to have to adjust. But I love that. And I want that for us, y'all. I want us to adopt some of the same mentality as that. Listen, I can be, do, or have anything I want to, because I am a child of the King. And if he owns a cattle on 1,000 hills, then that means I am entitled to everything that's out there. That's what I love about that. I love that the world is so big, and if the world's so big, I can have opportunity and pieces of all of those things. I may go through trials and tribulations, hardships, ebbs and flows, or whatever, but I know ultimately I can do whatever it is that I want to do. And that's what I'm taking from these Gen Zers. And that's how I live my life. And that's the thing that I teach Black women in the Net 7 Collective. I teach them that very thing. How do I take what I have, and how am I able to live life on my own terms? How am I able to do whatever I want to do, live however I want to live? So this is what I do all day, every day, besides helping people with real estate, besides running my businesses, besides making my investments. I help Black women. So if you are a Black woman, or you know a Black woman, have them reach out to me. Go to net7bbs.com or bookwithconstance.com, and I will be happy to talk to you about some opportunities that you can live life on your own terms, like these Gen Zers. Okay. So listen, this is it. We're going to wrap up today's discussion. We've covered some of these shocking stats of Gen Z and their struggle in the workforce, the reasons behind these terminations, and what young professionals can do to stay ahead of the game, y'all. The bottom line is this. This is what we have to teach these young people, that attitude is everything. Employers are looking for initiative, they're looking for professionalism, and they're looking for dependability. So while they're going to work at these places, make sure they have these three things: professionalism, initiative, and dependability. Get to work on time. Make sure you're professional. Make sure you do what the hell you got to do when you get there. If you want to stand out, you got to do more than just show up, right? You can live your entrepreneurial dreams. When you get home from work, when you finish doing what you want to do, go ahead. When you're working for the man, you're going to have to make some concessions. So let's keep this conversation going. What do you guys think in the comments? Are companies failing Gen Z, or is Gen Z failing themselves? Let us know. Okay. And so here's the thing. You can watch us every single day at 11 a.m. We're here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, where we talk about everything. And we have some of the most brilliantest queens on the planet having these great conversations about whatever. It might be gossip, it might be political, but it's all for the betterment of our people. And I love it. And I love having these highly intellectual, highly stimulating conversations with some of the most brilliant minds in the country. So you can check us out every day here, or you can go to Spotify and search for Fly Nubian Money on Spotify, and we are there. So if you can't watch us, you can listen to us. Okay. And remember to text the word Queens to 87948 if you want to get notified when we come live. There's also some specials that we got, and there's also some things that Dr. Boyce is doing, and there's also some things that they're doing with the Fly Nubian Money Club. So if you want to get all this information, text the word Queens to 87948. Other than that, we love to see you. We'll be here tomorrow, same time, same bat channel. And listen, oh, Grow Your Money Club. Look at at Sophia, the Grow Your Money Club. Me and Tierra, we come on here 8 a.m. every morning, 11 a.m. Pacific, Grow Your Money podcast, and we talk about some really good shit too. All right. Thank you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. And we're going to do our Black History Month spotlight, right? I think we got a Black History Month spotlight. Let's go ahead and take a look.
Dab was the unofficial greeting of one blood to another, an occasion of endless handshakes and grips, a 2-minute way of saying, you are my brother and I will die for you, and meanwhile, blood, I'll see you back in the world.
This is the greeting. This is the greeting of the brother, of my brother. I'm glad to see him. I don't have to know his name. Just the fact that he's black is good enough for me.
DAP is an acronym for dignity and pride. Like if I look at him and we know exactly what we're doing there, and we know what we're communicating. It's code.
What are you communicating there?
I mean, honestly, it's a symbol of Black love, and it's something that is not necessarily associated always, even between Black men. But it's Black love in the sense that it's, solidarity, it's resistance, it's humor, it's anguish,